Welcome to Kingdom Mothers Rise Up, where I encourage and equip you to heal your heart and renew your mind so you can live the fully abundant life Jesus promised you. Let's go. It's time to move.
We have talked about the shame cycle. We have talked about how hiding our messes can keep us stuck, keep us captive. We talked last week about the courage cycle and how we aren't just brave once and done with fear forever, but by definition, we must keep facing fear and pain and grief and choosing to do the right thing to practice courage. And this week, we're talking about the power of embracing. Your chapter in Mess to Majesty was embrace your mess, find your message. And that could be true of the woman at the well for sure. She found a message and transformed her town. But what do I mean by embracing your mess? So I don't mean embrace it as your identity and keep it close and I'm going to stay this forever. What I mean is don't shy away from it. Be honest about the mess that it is, rather than identify it as a mess and see it for what it is. Be honest about what it is, but realize it is not you. It's not your identity. It's simply a mess, and messes can be cleaned up. So why is there power in doing that? I just said it helps us separate our behavior from our identity. We can make a mess without it being a mess. It helps us see the tremendous worth that Jesus placed on us. We can be honest and admit how bad things are and accept that Jesus loves us just like that. Just that revelation and that accepting of his love in spite of the mess that comes with us. It also helps us see that we're not alone. Other people have similar experiences, similar feelings, and so we can realize that we're not alone. And then when we have been healed, it very often becomes part of our message that we can encourage and comfort others who are suffering in the same way that we suffered in the past. And so our healing brings more healing when we're willing to share. So it separates us from our identity, or separates our identity from our behavior. In the past, I would lose my temper to the point of rage at my kids. I have thrown them. I have hit them way too hard. I've yelled far, far louder and longer than any parent ever should. But those are behaviors, not behaviors that are easy to admit by any means, but they're just behaviors. And saying them still brings up shame and some fear of what are you going to think of me now that you know this about me? How will it change your relationship? But I am not my behaviors. I've asked for forgiveness for my kids. I've forgiven myself. I've received God's forgiveness. And so I can share that mess to let other moms know that they're not alone and there's hope. It helps us to see the tremendous worth that Jesus placed on us. He knew the awful things that I would do to my kids, and he still trusted me with them. He died for every sin I will ever commit and have ever committed. And that's so hard for me to understand. And I think that's part of why this woman's story was so hard for me. The gratitude overwhelms me, but somehow I still feel disconnected and utterly inadequate to express it. She knew her mess, the life she had lived. And she was able to receive Christ's forgiveness and was totally compelled to express her gratitude. And it helps us to see that we're not alone. When we hear stories of other moms that you would never guess had an anger issue, It helped me know that I wasn't alone. I needed better tools, but I wasn't alone. And my children weren't ruined, and I didn't belong in jail because I occasionally went too far. Did I need to change? Absolutely. Again, it wasn't my identity. It's not who I was. It was not an abusive parent. I occasionally did abusive things, but was not my identity that I was an abusive parent. When we're healed, it often becomes our message that we can share to encourage and bring hope and healing to others. That's the power of the testimony, to say, God did it for me, he'll do it for you. The Revelation 19:10 says, for the testimony of Jesus is the spirit of prophecy. So the testimony that Jesus did this for me is the prophecy that he will do this for you. There's power in embracing our mess and testifying to how Jesus brought us out of it. Not embracing our mess, like I said, as this is who I am and let's have a pity party, but this is what Jesus has done for me, which is, what we're seeing the women in Mess to Majesty. We're seeing them bring that gratitude and bring that testimony of this is what Jesus has done for me. See you next week.